the kingdom keys of both faith as well as stewardship. Now, I don't think we're going to get to the stewardship slot over there because there's a lot of slides here, but at least the faith part specifically. Now, for this year to ultimately be, the best year yet of your life, number one, it's about placing your faith in God, because that is the crux of everything, right? To seek first His kingdom and His righteousness, knowing that all the other lesser things that we seem to worry about so often, all the other lesser things will be added untowards us abundantly. Yesterday we were sharing that we had a youngster in the car with us about 2 Sundays ago, and he said to me, as well as my lovely wife, that he's struggling a bit with regards to having quiet time, meaning like struggling to put time aside to spend that time intentionally with God, because he loves to work, he loves to keep himself busy with stuff and loves to be active and so forth. So he said he had a bit of a struggle regarding that, and I believe the same with my wife as well, could really relate to what he was busy saying, because both myself and my lovely wife also like to be busy with stuff. Like we like to be productive and to do things and so forth. Now, the thing that we were trying to share with him, or that we popped through to him over WhatsApp over there, was that time spent with God is never wasted. It's actually time well invested. So time spent with God isn't time wasted. It's actually time well invested. Because again, another one of my mistakes that I've made within my life is that I had more faith and more belief in my own ability to get the job done, versus me having faith in God, knowing full well that should I take the time to just break away for whether it be 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 15, whatever that time slot is, just to intentionally break away and to spend time alone with Him, to get perspective, to receive whatever He wants to release. All right. I had more faith in my own ability to do the work versus me, having faith in God's ability to work through me at the end of the day. Hence the saying again, time spent with God isn't time wasted, because that's one of the biggest lies we can believe. Because, for example, you would maybe put time aside to spend it with God, and then as you put that time aside, let's say whether it be 30 minutes or whatever, right? So you put that time aside, and then you're like, if I put the time aside, I'm not going to be able to do this, and this. I'm going to miss out on this. I'm going to lose out on that. So there's a lot of issues at hand here. Namely, issue number one is an issue of pride, right? We have pride in and of ourselves, thinking that, okay, I can do this thing called life by myself. I don't really need God. I'll only go to God when things get really tough. Whereas God actually wants to have a relationship with us. He actually wants to journey with us. He actually wants to go on this great adventure with us, not because He's bored, not because He's lonely, not because He's insecure, but because He actually has got plans to prosper us, and not plans to harm us, plans to give us a hope and a future. An example of this is, for example, last year, Argentina won the World Cup. Now, what's fascinating about playing soccer or football at that level of professionalism, to play at that particular level, you don't just run out onto the field and then go and kick the ball. There's a lot that goes into it. For example, there are loads of various team talks that take place. There are loads of various analyses that take place before someone just goes out onto the field to go and play. And this is the key. The more effective those team talks are, the more effective the analysis actually is, the better the team is able to perform on the field that particular day, because they are approaching it now with the right heart, with the right mindset, with the right attitude, and so forth. That same thing applies to our relationship as well. The same applies in our relationship with God as well, in taking that intentional time to put it aside, to go and spend that time with God, in order that we can get the right perspective, in order that we can get the right wisdom, in order that we can get the right guidance, in order that we can be empowered through that relationship, in order that we can have a sense of stability and security within our lives, and a sense of knowing that we are loved and knowing that we are cherished. And from that just overflow on the inside of us, we are able to go out into the world and be a massive blessing untowards others.